Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to MTG Arena. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, and the event is complete, and so you launch the game this way with the festival being done. And then this ranked draft of Ravnica. Like, what packs would these be? These would be Ravnica packs, which I would really have to go back. We'd have to go to like the store and then packs to look here and try and figure out where Ravnica even is. That's Core 2019. Yeah, that's Elaxian. And two, well actually this is the rivals of Elaxian. So, yeah. Guilds of Ravnica is here, and then Ravnica Allegiance. So it kind of seems like, and I had figured this out, but I hadn't realized that this really was how they were doing it. At least for the past couple of years, they've had a theme deck, a continuation of that theme deck, probably with a lot of cards that fix the mistakes of that first theme deck. Then you have a standalone experience, and then you have the core set in November. So, theme deck, expansion of the theme deck, standalone experience, and then core set. So, Throne of Eldraine, which we're playing right now, probably will have an expansion, and then there will be a single set, or they're going to shift things around on us, and this is the single deck, and then they will get back to theme decks. And there's a decent argument to make that this is the standalone deck, considering how lore-wise, as I understand it, the things happening or being depicted in the lore and the side stories in Eldraine are not really related to the planeswalkers and the characters that people care about. Although I would say it would probably be nice if they got away from their old lore, since they're trying to get new players. I assume they're trying to get new players into playing Arena. If they could say the old stories are done, we're going to wrap them up somewhat well, but then we're just going to start focusing on not having so much backstory and lore, and not milking customers in some weird way in which they feel the need to buy these side story books and novels. That the latest one was not well received from what I hear. Well, this is new. Cauldron of Eternity. Is that a 10? Does that really cost 10 mana to play? I thought 7 was the maximum anything cost. Let's see. I'm gonna have to go look at that, because apparently I got something either really weird, which this doesn't seem right either. I guess it is. Did I just open I've just opened the Eldraine cards. I just got something that was weird. And we got another thing that's weird. Alright. 2 packs. Let's see. We have red and blue. Red and green, or white and blue. Let's see if I can re-roll this. And we've already got the glitch where we can't re-roll. So we'll... I mean, is it really worth it to jump out and try and change that? I want to play a white or blue deck, and then the Wednesday brawls here don't do anything for us. They don't give us any reward, so I don't have a reason to really play that. So I'm just gonna go standard and white or blue. And let's see, we have Angelic Army was what I was playing off screen last time, so I guess we'll try that here. So I've been mostly uploading videos, but I did make 3 episodes of you can see I've adjusted the mana count in this deck to the point where I possibly have way too much mana, too many land in the deck. I don't want to do it while playing ranked standard, but if I play a regular game, I want to see what happens if I mulligan all the way down to 0. I think I've done this once before, but I saw something about if you mulligan, you can then scry, which I'm not really seeing that come into play. So I'm a little confused. Like, I don't know when that happens. Generally, I saw a YouTube video that says never mulligan below 3 cards, and if you've mulliganed down to 4 cards and you just have land, you should probably just play it at that point. But if you have 4 cards and there's no land, you should then mulligan down to 3. And then basically you also consider if your opponent mulligans before you mulligan, because that too will be useful. Okay, we have a trample guy here, and we have this here. Let's play this first, and then I still want to play a mana each turn. And it probably would have been better, come to think of it, to play this first. So I played a $2 game that's not really worth owning or playing on Steam called iZombie, not to be confused with the comic book iZombie or the TV series loosely based on the comic book iZombie. It has literally only 30 levels in it, and by level 21 I wasn't interested in playing any further. There's just really no polish or effort to have a big enough product to make it worth anyone's time, or enough gameplay mechanics in its systems to make it make sense as far as the game. So it's very rough and unpolished. You play as a zombie, you walk over other enemies and you turn them as a zombie, but half the enemies have guns, and half of the enemies that do have guns will kill you before you can even get on top of them, and the ones that don't kill you for sure will kill you if you move slightly wrong and take 1 extra hit. So every time you take on or fight any of the armed characters, you are brought down to within 1 hit's worth of your life, and as your health goes down, you actually slow down in your movement, making the game exponentially more difficult for no good reason. So when I play this triggers and gives you health, which then triggers this, which then lets me do this. And then what do we want to do? Counter attack. There we go. Just get rid of that. Just as a way of frustrating the game, our opponent. So yeah, I played about an hour and 30 minutes of it. 3 episodes, 30-minute episodes, and there was just not anything there to justify owning iZombie or playing it. I'm making footage right now for February going into March for a kind of secondary Halloween month to coincide with Fear. Let's see, let's hope he doesn't have any spells. He did have spells. Darn it. Oh well. While he was a factor, he wasn't a big enough factor to matter. So yeah, that's kind of all I did. I also decided to do my good deed for the year and help someone pull out their Christmas decorations, and so I'm a little exhausted and probably won't want to stream for super long today because of that. And also, I haven't been to sleep in probably, well, I would say, let's see, probably haven't been asleep in at least 16 hours. So that's another concern to realize, is that I may very well just crash pretty quickly. I plan to play a zombie driving game just to fill out the time slots, and then I want to get away from playing horror/zombie games. Although, frankly, now is as good a time as any to not try and have something that is more kid friendly. Yeah, my earliest time slots were targeting, I would say, people who were 14 or 15, as young as 14 or 15. There we go. With the Lego games, even though my coverage of the Lego games in particular was from a purchasing perspective for parents. I guess those are contradictory statements, but yeah, it was mostly for parents, but I could see maybe a 14, 15-year-old jumping in and seeing that. So now with the whole COPA worry, there's some reason to not have a time slot that tries to cover kids' games. And they've never been super successful anyways. Jim Sterling came out and talked about the COPA thing, and I think his position is sad. Unfortunately, I have to kind of agree with him and be in the same perspective. I think his position that the idea that the FTC would really go after small YouTube content creators is ridiculous.
Guildmage, Planeswalker, genius inventor?
They won't even go after big offenders unless they want to make an example out of some of the worst offenders on on YouTube that have been targeting their content directly at kids. That would have been a case where I probably should have held onto a card and not spent it. So if I hit here, he'll block. If I hit here, he'll block. The only thing is, does he want that guy gone or not? Like, how badly does he want this guy gone from the field? Actually, I may have just helped him. Actually. Nope. Didn't really help him.
When a storm sea washes the dead ashore? Super gross and not my fault.
So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to really say about that other than we're gonna... Now would be a good time to go a little bit harder and try to be a little bit, oddly, even less family friendly. Although YouTube will probably see a wild swing back to saying your videos still need to be family friendly. I'm experimenting with using BitChute as a backup for my channel, just in case.
Quantum particles.
In the same way that Twitch is a backup for my channel up to a certain point, and then the automated app that was taking my videos and putting them on Twitch stopped working. I don't know anything about BitChute. It does seem like there's a lot of people who were either justifiably or unjustifiably, depending on your opinion, deplatformed from YouTube. And so, yeah, I'm in some very awkward company. That being said, if BitChute's peer-to-peer concept really picked up, not probably because of the concept, but probably because of people getting frustrated with YouTube and moving over to it, I would be perfectly happy with BitChute being the new YouTube and me being on the winning side of a decision. But yeah, I'm not going to encourage anybody to go find my channel on BitChute or anything like that. It's just going to be something that acts as another backup. Of course, it doesn't work really too good as a backup because it's knocking everything down to 720, which sucks, and might even introduce a weird scenario where if they ever get to 1080p video quality, everything would have to be re-scanned and re-uploaded automatically, hopefully. But it's better than nothing.
I have just the thing to take you out for good.
Like, I'll try almost any service, unless it was a service that straight up was just so offensively bad for business that I wouldn't want to be associated with it. Right now, it seems like the people in charge of BitChute are just promoting it as a free speech platform. We've seen many platforms promote themselves that way and then turn out to not really care too much about free speech. And we've seen many attempts at taking down YouTube, and none have succeeded. But maybe there will be some service out there that can just kind of constantly chip away at that. Chip away at people's at YouTube's market share. Yeah, that would be... Yeah, if I just had one spell to do 5 damage, That's all I would need, but I don't, so all my health being built up has now proven to be useless, and I've probably lost. So we need to start covering the news. There's a decent amount of news, and we want to cover it, and then like maybe we'll do 2 recordings today, maybe we won't. We don't really have to do anything special today. It's just like get the 10 wins. That's the one thing we're trying to do, is get the 10 wins and you know, get the free pack and move on. But certainly days when I'm not recording, I'm not doing any of that. Yeah, since I've had some downtime with the videos uploading, I've been messing with my server some more. Man, I really have just gotten really obsessed about it, and eventually I will burn out on it and stop messing with it so much. But I'm trying to set it up with a Active Directory equivalent server, which I've never really been able to wrap my head around Active Directory, because it seems like it's just like a weird system that Windows uses to just kind of make a phone book almost equivalent is the best way I could describe it. It seems like it doesn't really do much of anything on its own. It just makes this giant database phone book of users and machines potentially, and groups that you put the users in, and groups on top of groups, and administrators of certain groups, and that seems to be about all it does. But using the web browser software, what was it called? Let me see if I can pick up the name. Fusion Directory is the software I'm using, which seems to be a spin-off of an abandoned port of a software called Gosa 2. So Fusion Directory as a web browser that handles the backend Active Directory also connects with another software called Fully Automated Installs, and that's what I was really trying to get at, and I just went big, you know, just swing for the fences, install a entire computer management system and user management system, so that I could then have computers that would be connected to my network, potentially, if their hard drives just got erased or something, automatically connect via network in a thing called PXE boot. They would automatically connect to that network, boot through the network, and then start the process of installing some image of some operating system, whether that's Windows or Linux, and what flavor of Linux and which not. The main thing I'm having problems with right now is just setting up the fully automated install backend in a way that it will actually work. And then after I set that up, I want to put a special build of Linux that is actually a combination of multiple versions of Linux as the first thing it boots, and then from that first thing it should allow you to do several different things. So for instance, you could just, without your hard drive being messed up in any way, you could just hit the boot options when your computer's turning on, connect over the network, and run an antivirus scanner, which is what I had to do recently and was the motivating factor, obviously. Alright, let's play this. Um, so yeah, run an antivirus, run some kind of other like live CD versions of Linux. All of this toying around is really just using my home lab to teach me things that would be great to know if I was ever going to actually work in a job that would want me to do that. And I think I've probably even worked with something like fully automated Linux before, but it was not explained to me, nor was it really did it really make sense. It was a job where they habitually did not keep people around, so they didn't bother to explain anything to me or tell me what I was doing or why I was doing it this way. And I think what I may very well find out is that booting and installing operating systems over the network is actually incredibly slow and unnecessary, and it is better to probably just have an external CD, or an external USB drive to install things. And it doesn't really start to make sense to have automated installs until you get around that point and are playing around with hundreds upon hundreds of potential. I've got to get something on the field to play this. Yeah, if you have hundreds of computers, if you're running a school and you've got 100 computer labs and you want to reinstall a new version of Windows on all of those rather regularly, or if you some of the Linux versions seem to allow you to actually control what software is on them too. I'm not sure if there's a Windows software that's free and open source that would work that way, but it doesn't really matter, because if you're installing a version of Windows that you've pre-built with pre-built and pre-installed software in it, and you've locked it down so that software can't be added and software can't be removed, then you're effectively doing the same thing anyways. Although it would be kind of silly to completely reinstall an operating system just to update the latest version of Photoshop or Office. And I think Microsoft probably does have solutions for those things. I just wouldn't know off the top of my head what they are. But yeah, I'm really swinging for the fences with this experiment. And I've still never gotten Pterodactyl, and I've never gone back to trying to install that, which is a web server specifically focused around running like Minecraft servers and gaming servers of several different versions. But everything else I have is working fairly well, although my array is still scanning itself. Turned out it wasn't just the antivirus that was using all of the CPU power, and yeah, my server's CPU and RAM is incredibly old and slow. I had installed a file indexer so you could speed up searches. Unfortunately, it has to actually index all the files first, and it was taking forever and slowing down the disk check, as it were, for the game. For the RAID array. Alright, let's go ahead and close this after a minute and just relaunch this. And while we're waiting for this to launch, we have a game over here on Steam called Conviction, which is a Chinese RPG game that Looks just like RPG Maker pretty much. Early access, demo, English, Japanese, Chinese. Let's see, can we re-roll this now? Yes, we can. So we should. Black or red? White or blue? Still didn't really help us any, but whatever. Let's play. So, I suppose it's worth mentioning that Steam came out with this remote play together feature, which I thought was already out, so I don't know if this is some kind of out of beta. This game is very interesting, but it's kind of an early access demo, and I don't know if it's ever going to be finished. And then they came out alongside this remote play together with a sale. Oops, the guy got bored and I got a free victory out of it. Alright, I will take that. And what's weird about this sale is that, you know, next week is Thanksgiving, so, and Black Friday, so it's very weird to see games on sale right now. I would almost certainly guess that these are anything you see on sale right now is not going to be on sale or discounted next week in the Black Friday. Cuphead here is $20, and it's what they're promoting, and it's not discounted at all. The rest of these games are mostly co-op games, and I don't really play too many co-op games. Cat's Quest 2, for instance, and Guacamelee 2, you can play without that, without a partner. Why is this, I wonder, not on my wish list? And yeah, you're definitely not seeing a lot of games here on sale. A lot of Lego games on sale, and you can see here's my lineup of Lego games I don't have. I don't have Lego the Movie Video Game 2, and I don't have Lego DC Super Villains, which is $15.99 before you start even buying any of the DLC, and I don't have Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and these are just getting down to $7.99 when I prefer them to be closer to $5.99. That being said, like Harry Potter 5 through 7 being $5.99 is kind of deceptive, whereas Lego Batman the video game for $4.99 is a pretty good deal. Lego Batman 3 for $4.99 is still a pretty good deal, but kind of deceptive too. And then like Lego Indiana Jones The Original Adventures, $19.98 with no discount at all. And let's see, what was there's something here I saw that I wanted to look at, and I should have opened it as a new tab and didn't. Yeah, River City Girls. I think we could put that on the wish list. The other thing I wanted to do though is look at my wish list, and we're just having network problems all over the place, and it's not like I'm uploading or anything. The backup software, by the way, I was experimenting with the old version of Duplicati, D-U-P-L-I-C-A-T-I. Seems to be working now. I've had 2 or 3 incremental backups that are getting smaller and smaller each time, claiming that everything else has been backed up correctly. And I'm not sure how much of that is to be believed, but I think it's good enough. So, yeah, I'm starting to really wonder if you shouldn't, or you just have to play ranked, standard ranked, because the game will just not connect to you half the time. So here's my wish list, and just looking at what's on sale right now, excluding early access and pre-release in VR, by discount, you have Hard West here for 90% off. Let's just see. Far Cry Primal gets down to $5.99. Painkillers $4.99. Crypt of the Necrodancer at $2.99 is not a bad price. I would be willing to potentially waste money by owning Crypt of the Necrodancer at that price. Game called Suicide Guy is 99 cents. I don't remember that. Manuel Samuel is $1.99. Guacamole is $3.99. Painkiller series is not really discounted. Lust for Darkness is $3.49. This game I could never actually play, and it's kind of mixed in its reviews, but at that price I think it would be fine. On the other hand, like Injustice 2, I barely can find a justification to even keep that on my wish list, come to think of it. Salt and Sanctuary is $4.99. That's probably good. Mother Russia Bleeds is $3.74. The Game of Chariot is $3.74. If these are the sales for Black Friday, these aren't particularly great sales, but that kind of works fine for me. Like, I don't really see a reason to spend a lot of money right now on video games when I might potentially spend a lot of money on other Black Friday purchases. And incredibly expensive installations and wiring of new equipment throughout my house. If you want to install a CCTV system, I would highly recommend against it unless you can crawl through the roof and install it yourself. If you have to pay anybody, people want a lot of money for it, way more than they deserve. At least where I live, that's the case. And it is easily 4 or 5 times the cost of buying the equipment just to have it installed, whereas maybe 3 times the cost of the equipment would have been reasonable, but even that's a little expensive. In the long run, theoretically, because I'm buying equipment that isn't like a discounted price because you're paying for a monitoring service that you don't really need and won't really do anything for you. In the long run, you might save money, but in the extremely short run, in the first 5 years, I don't think you're gonna save a lot. Yeah, and on my wish list, we're down to Car Mechanic Simulator, which is 60% off. I generally would not be considering buying anything that's only 60% off. I might buy something that's super cheap. Hat in Time, for instance, 50% off. Let's see. If I do this, and then play white, and then do this, and then, what do we do? Take this. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm not really seeing a lot of sales. Yeah, for some reason River City Girls is not on my fall list and not on my wish list. It totally should be on my wish list because I totally want this game. I don't want any of the other River City games per se, but this one works. It works fine, and I can't imagine that I actually would have intentionally left that off. Like, I have nothing here. Just tap that, I guess. Attack. Next. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here for the PS4. Grand Blue Fantasy versus RPG mode conversation scene gameplay. So, little trickles of information. I haven't heard a lot of stuff about Grand Blue Fantasy though. So, that's interesting. Gamatsu has an article. Cygames in Cytel open a teaser website for a new smartphone game. This is probably a Japanese-centric smartphone game, if I was to guess. And we'll see if it comes to the West. Yeah, I think I'm possibly starting the beginning of crashing. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article here. Age of Wonders Planetfall Revelations DLC live alongside a Good Old Games franchise sale. I don't know what Planetfall Revelations is though, so take that information however you want it. Yeah, I'm gonna really just try and cover the big news and not cover too much. Right now, the Epic Games Store is having its well, no, I thought that was saying it was having a sale, but I guess it isn't. They tweeted out this new DLC for Borderlands. It's Mad Moxie based, some kind of casino robbery, I think. Yeah, I think that's the idea. Yeah, it's a casino robbery DLC. Okay. Looks interesting. If I can justify it, it's called Moxie's Heist something something something. Yeah. It's getting harder and harder in my mind to continue the boycott of 2K games, but I probably should keep it up. Like there really isn't a great argument to not maintain the boycott of 2K games, but maybe a year down the road people won't care. Won't even remember that they abused the DMCA like so many other people. I don't know if people even now remember that. Yeah, I guess I need to mostly just cast spells. Artifact to enchant. I'm just playing cards. Yeah, is all I'm doing. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article. Take-Two leads $20 million funding round into Spellbreaker developer Proletariat.
You and I are gonna take them. It's no problem. Fire can't solve.
I'm not sure choosing Proletariat as the name of your company is particularly a great name. It certainly means a lot. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article here. Activision Blizzard
it's you,
CEO Bobby Kotick wants to keep politics out of his games, which is BS. Certainly. This is an odd article for TechRaptor to even write, and write it so late in the controversy, or past the controversy anyways. Alright. So now it's just black or red cards. So let's go back to our favorite black deck and play this. Bobby Kotick's claims of wanting to keep politics out of his games is kind of complete BS. If you don't do a little bit of research, you'll quickly find that out. But I don't want to get into a rant as I'm crashing here. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Blockchain-based game studio Mythical Games, and that's $19 million in funding. Wow, that'd be terrible if you only netted $19. Alright, so I wanted to just mulligan, and then mulligan, and mulligan, and mulligan, and then mulligan, and mulligan, and mulligan. So I'm returning 7 cards to the bottom of my library. Alright, so this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I guess you could pick any order you want to put them to the bottom of your library, and 7. Alright, so I mulliganed all of them, and I didn't get to scry, so I don't know what the claim is that you could scry came from. That must be some rule that's not being played in standard anymore. Either that or Arena doesn't know its own rules for the game. So I just gave this guy an incredible advantage. It would be insane for him not to win. But we'll see what happens. What you don't see here, though, is if you mulligan everything, is you don't see an ability to constantly mulligan. You also don't see an ability to lose the game just because you mulliganed a bunch. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article. Sam speaks with Firefly Studios about Stronghold Warlords. Apparently this is an interview. TechRaptor is not really doing a lot of interviews these days, and I would like to see him do more interviews and less dumb advertisement-like articles. I don't know if I mentioned it, but during some esports broadcasting award, an esports broadcaster called out Kotaku, Polygon, other journalists for their bad job at being video game journalists and how they and he actively said that he feels their plan is to get 1 to 12 people, 1 to 12 esports commentators and journalists to quit, so that then they can get Kotaku and Polygon can get their cronies into those positions, so then they can gatekeep and take control of it, which is kind of exactly what we've seen, or we've unfortunately allowed to happen. Leanna K did a video. I barely watch any of her videos, but she did a video criticizing, I believe, Polygon's review of Death Stranding for being just incompetently written and not understanding basic video game concepts, like the fact that it's a stealth game, and instead just calling it a fetch quest game with nothing else in it, which I think is a little bit inaccurate. Let's see. Let's not talk about any games. We'll leave those all for Friday. Gamatsu has an article here. Chris Tales details Crystalius region. This is some kind of RPG. Apparently Phil Spencer mentioned that the Xbox should focus more on RPGs, which would be a very good move, as first-person shooters and the more Western style of games that Xbox has been focused on are less and less becoming in fad, or being the types of games people are looking for. Even the big system seller first-person shooters are becoming fewer and far between. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article here for the Switch. Romance visual novel Nico Miko is coming December 5th. This, of course, would be a cat-girl dating visual novel from the looks of it. Let's see. So I basically handed this game to him. Let's not forget that, but oddly we're still kind of holding our own. Gamatsu has an article here. Moe Ro Chronicle Hyper Limited Print Physical Edition has been announced. So I imagine this is from Limited Run Games, who seems to be the only company that really tries to do these short run physical editions, which are effectively just collector's editions for an incredibly small audience. This is probably the biggest news today. The Gamma Sutra has an obituary. EverQuest designer and MMORPG veteran Brad McQuaid has died. Let's see. He was working on a new game called Pantheon for years, as the next MMORPG. He certainly does deserve to be considered one of the major fathers of the second generation or third generation of video games. EverQuest is a very big game that kind of established what the MMO RPG genre was going to be, and that certainly was history making and groundbreaking. But I don't think there'd be too much to say about his most recent work, because he doesn't seem to have really done anything other than work on Pantheon in recent history. I'm not going to bother to try and find out what he died from, so I'll just leave it at that since it's so hard. We mentioned this last stream. Half-Life Alexa announced by Valve for the VR. It seems like one of the video game award shows, not the esports one I was talking about, but a different one, is happening in the next few days, and they were going to announce this. It looks like they were going to announce the Half-Life Alexa game, and it leaked out, so it's the Half-Life Alyx game. So since the information leaked out, it seems like they decided it would be better and easier just to confirm it. It also seems like nobody is working on Team Fortress 2 or Team Fortress 1, one of those two games. So, or very few people are, so it seems like they shifted around their workers to actually get some projects done, which is a novel concept at Valve. OpenCritic has an article here. The Outer Worlds is receiving a patch that allows players to adjust the font size and more. Cool. I hear the Outer Worlds is kind of just the same old as a Fallout game might be. Probably something I still would want to play at some point, but it doesn't seem like the ending or anything like that happens and really makes it a top tier game that has to be played as soon as possible. Gamer Sutra has an article here. Get a Job, Manicore Games is looking for a back-end engineer. That's in San Mateo, California. Gamma Sutra has an article here. The mixed reality game streaming platform LIV secures $2.4 million in funding. That's probably a pretty low amount of funding, actually. Let's see. Just go ahead and decide to block that. Probably premature to do that, but yeah. We played that way. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article here. German government to continue $55 million game development fund. In a weird way, it seems like the German government is finally coming around to supporting video games as art, which is nice. Gamma Sutra has an article. Net profit up 53.7%. as Netmarble closes its quarter 3. Why is it so high? Seven Deadly Sins seems to be the biggest game that they even are selling, or what is this? Can't read it. Lineage? Or something? Yeah, Lineage 2 Revolution seems to be their biggest game. So yeah, they seem like they're doing well. TechRaptor has an article here. The War of Mine gets its free 5th anniversary update. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say there. And TechRaptor has an article. Zumba Burn It Up comes to the Switch. Which, alright. Another exercise game coming to the Switch. I'm just trying to go through all of this news pretty fast. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article here. Torchlight Frontiers release date won't be in 2019. People not really interested in Torchlight Frontiers, but a new Torchlight game, Torchlight 3, people would be interested in, so maybe if they abandoned Frontiers and just announced a real Torchlight sequel that might be interesting. TechRaptor has an article here. Angry Birds vending machine lets you punch it for prizes, which is a terrible idea, and certainly not something you would want to ever encourage somebody to do, because they are just going to get increasingly more violent to the point where they're going to pull out explosives or a crowbar or something. Yeah, this is not a smart concept. I'm gonna hold on to this card. I don't think you get progress to your daily quest playing land anyways. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article here, how players shop during a Steam sale, which might be interesting, I guess, if you're trying to sell a game on Steam. I guess that's pretty much it. Though, although understanding other people's shopping habits might be a helpful way to understand your own shopping habits. So that might help you potentially avoid overspending. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article here. UK charts show Pokemon Sword and Shield sells big. Yeah, there doesn't seem like there's really any like protest or boycott happening for Pokemon. It seems like they're getting plenty of sales. Yeah. And that's kind of gonna be it, because I'm just like super sleepy. I need to off-screen play 10 more of black or red spells, and then I ideally would want to get 8 more victories. And let's just see, cover the news here. Gamma Sutra has a Q&A, veteran director Chris Brown on the secrets of great voice acting. Kind of a bad name, but it's spelled differently. An unfortunate name to share. Gamatsu has an article here. Dragon Quest X coming to browsers in 2020 in Japan, which is a little bit interesting. That it would just skip to browsers and cell phones. Gamatsu has an article. Fight and Rage for the PS4 launches December 3rd, which just looks like this is a beat 'em up fighting game. I am gonna almost certainly have to curate all of the Steam games that are in this list. Color X Malice for the Switch launches March 12th, 2020 in Japan. This looks like this is probably a visual novel, if I was to guess. Yep. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. DJ Max Respect 5 announced for PC. Yeah, if you want to play a DJing game. Let's see. The Candagua Jet Girls DLC is bringing in Sinra and Kagura characters. So, ninja girls in scantily clad clothing. Sinra and Kagura characters seem to be popping up quite a few places lately to just, I guess, remind people that those games are still in development. And What else do we need to talk about? Not a ton. Blaster Master 02 is coming to PC along these DLC characters from Copen. Blah 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 blah. Read it yourself if you want to read it. That's too long of a sentence. Blaster Master. Advertisement for lack of a better description. And we already talked about the Sonic 3 prototype. And then that just brings me to the Humble Bundle. If I skip over all of the games, in all honesty, it would take probably over an entire hour to cover all the games. And yeah, it doesn't look like there's any Humble Bundles worth mentioning. And let's see if there's any bits of information on my Twitter feed. Turns out the new game from the creators Life is Strange that is called Tell Me Why is one of the characters is transgendered. So yeah, that's potentially a case of the people making those games and that company in particular speaking on a subject that they are not particularly informed or 100% informed on, because it seems like nobody who actually works on the game is transgendered. So it seems like it's probably going for just SJW woke points instead of being anything different or anything better than Life is Strange was. Well, that's going to be it for the series because I'm just like super tired and need to fall asleep. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.